Hello guys and welcome to the first in a brand new series for the new bros on EVE Online. We are just starting up. We are now going to enlist with the Galente Federation and choose the bloodline. This has no effect. I do hope that the game audio isn't overbearing. I will just turn it down a touch there. What we'll do now is we'll choose the bloodline. So if we go for that one, which doesn't really alter much to the game, and we'll go through the tutorial and things together, and I'll show you how to play the game as a new bro. If you do head down into the description, there is a link there which will enable you to start the new game with 1,000,000 skill points, which is the equivalent of 2 days worth of training in game completely for free. Now we are going to go with the Federation Navy Academy for the study, and as you can see there, the different ones affected. The Federation Navy Academy is a military training ground for all of the aspiring Galente cadets. The School of Exploration. The University of Calais School of Exploration is one of those most renowned graduate schools in New Eden. And then there is the Industrial Institute with a focus on research and development, a centre for advanced studies. Industrial Institute produces future Galente industrialists. Now, what we're going to do is we are actually going to go with the warfare one, and we're going to pick a random name. So we'll just scroll through till we find one. So there is going to be the name. It's Arbayulist Mullet, and we shall get started. Now, this game, we're going to take you through all the steps on this, including the initial career missions as well as all the other little bits. And here we go.
Captain, wake up. It's me, Aura, your AI companion. I must insist you wake up right this instant. If you do not wake up, my protocols dictate I initiate your ship's self-destruct sequence, thereby forcing you to regenerate into a new clone. Seems such a waste. This body is so fresh. I see that got your attention. Now that you're conscious, I must inform you that I have both good and bad news. The bad news is your ship's interface has been knocked offline by an unidentified enemy vessel. The good news is that I can help you fix it. I will focus on rebooting your systems, while you try not to die.
And here we go, guys.
Calibrate your camera drones. They allow you to view your ship from multiple angles. You must ensure they are in working order.
So as I say, if you hold on the left mouse and pan it left and right,
just a bit more data.
Then using your mouse wheel, scroll in and then out with the visual cookies.
Your engines are clearly running, but you should still test your maneuvering thrusters. If your ship explodes, we'll know something is amiss.
And if you double click on any point, the space that you can see all around you here, and this is just like your initial getting used to the controls.
Excellent. Your ship has not exploded. Yet. This is extremely fortunate, as I've managed to bring your info panel online. I will update it with your current objectives. I'm receiving a distress signal from a nearby ship. I suspect you were not the only one to fall afoul of that unidentified hostile. Let's warp to the signal source.
So when you've got a mission and things like that, you will get a little bar here, and you can warp to the mission location, or it will come up with set destination if you are doing missions and things, but we will cover that throughout the series. But if you click that, then it will warp you straight to the location.
Warp drive active. Stay sharp, Captain. I am not certain what we will encounter when we arrive.
Well, we're waiting for us at the end of this warp tunnel.
away to get here in time. Target the wreck, and I will scan for survivors.
So if you left click on the wreck to select it.
My scanners are not detecting much. Perhaps we need to get closer.
And then if you do a right click and then select approach there, as Sayora is showing us as well.
There do not appear to be any survivors. How unfortunate. I will continue scanning the area, but my background processes have reactivated your ship's overview, so you can see what ships and structures exist in nearby space.
And there's the enemy ship there, guys.
A hostile incoming. A Circadian Seeker, to be exact.
So it will.
Your target,
So if you use control and left click, you can lock it up that way. Or the other way, if we want just unlock it for a minute. Click on it, the name of it.
Ship interface, so you can fire your weapons.
And then click the lock icon.
Would be an excellent time to do so.
And then click on the lock icon there. And then click the approach icon. Now, I will cover this, but if you hover over the weapon there, it does tell you the optimal range in your fall-off range, which the fall-off range on the civilian Gatling railguns that we've got on at the minute is 7,380, and the optimal is 5,280. And if you click it, your weapons begin firing.
Engaged until your target is destroyed.
Now, the other thing that you can also do on this is if you click the orbit there, you can then orbit around the enemy vessel. But now when it comes up like that, it does mean that it contains loot. So if you click on the wreck and then click on the like suitcase sort of thing, and then you can open it.
Seeker was a drifter drone. You do remember who the drifters are, don't you? They are one of the few things all the empires of New Eden agree on. They are a threat to us all. Now, let's head home before we encounter any further trouble. We'll be safe once we're docked at a station.
So as you can see there, it is highlighting it with the little icon there, that is the home station. So if you click on that, and then you click the door symbol there, that will actually dock you then. Or you can do shortcut key of D and your left click on your mouse.
Warp drive active. Warping commenced. We will dock upon arrival.
Now, I do apologise if I do cut Ayora out. I am trying not to cut her out too much of the dialogue so that you guys can understand what she is saying. I am trying to fine-tune the audio on this, so I do apologise if it is a little bit loud.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted. During our warp, I successfully reactivated your neocom. No need to thank me. I am far more capable of multitasking than the average human. Speaking of the neocom, you can use it to contact Concord. As New Eden's impartial law enforcement agency, securing peace in the cluster is their primary function. I am certain they will want to hear about these attacks. You can contact them through the Agency tab in the neocom.
Now, just before we get onto that, the two flashing items here. One is the daily logging campaign, and the other one is your redeem window. So I'll just give you a quick run through on that. If you click on the daily login, then you'll get this. If there's any kind of events on, like there is at the minute, which is the hunt for Easter. And then you click your claim button down here. And it then heads over to your redeem window here. Then it will go off. And then you've got your daily login, which is different things for the new players. In the new initial stage, you'll get given different things like the 10,000 interstellar credits, the biology, a defense module and things like that, but we will cover them throughout. So if you click claim, the interstellar credits will then go onto your balance over there once you redeem them in your redeem window. So then if you come over to your redeem here and click on it, and then you've got a choice, you can redeem to your home station or to the current station that your ship's currently docked at. I have used my own referral link, so as you guys can see there, you do get 1,000,000 skill points, which we will also come on to and cover with yourselves, plus 5,000 there from the hunt campaign, which it is also on at the minute, which is there. So if we redeem them to the current station, now as you can see there, the credits in our IS balance have risen. And if we come over to the character sheet, which I will cover with you shortly, as you can see down at the bottom here, we have 1,005,000 unallocated skill points, which I'll be covering throughout the course of this series.
As I predicted, Concord is concerned about the Drifter menace. They have another task for us to handle. Most importantly, they're willing to pay for your services. Before you depart, you might want to examine the Station Services interface, to which I have just restored access. From there, you will be able to utilize all services available in the station. Seems rather self-explanatory, doesn't it? Prepare yourself, Captain. You are safe now, but once you undock, I believe the correct colloquialism is, all bets are off.
So if we click undock here now, we can carry on with the initial tutorial. Now I am going to be not talking too much throughout this so that you guys can hear Iora and hear what she's got to say throughout this series. Now she isn't popping up again at the minute, but as you can see we do have to warp to the investigation side. So if we click warp to location, that'll take us over to there. And as you can see, guys, you do get other players, and I'll come on to the mining tabs and the warp to tabs and how you can customize your overview so that you can have different things, so that you can see what is around you. I'll also be covering a lot of the controls here, including the autopilot and your scanners and things like that.
Concord was right. The Drifters have struck again. And look, there they are right now. How thoughtful of them to wait for us. Getting close to that seeker to optimize your chance of combat success.
Then if we click on that one and then click
to perish so soon.
approach, or you can right click on it and orbit it at 1,000, or use the shortcut key there. So if we orbit him at 1,000.
Good.
No.
Now, lock your target and prepare to fight.
And there you go, you can see the optimal range and the fall off range, which is displayed in meters.
As before, continue to engage the enemy until it is destroyed.
We haven't covered the afterburner yet, guys, but I will cover that with yourselves if Iora doesn't cover it in the initial stages. And so, same again, we will actually loot the wreck and see whether there's anything good on it.
Once we are in range, you can access the cargo.
So what we'll do here is I'll left click on the afterburner and that turns it on, increasing the speed that we can get here, meaning that we approach it a lot faster, up to the maximum. With
those metal scraps if I were you.
And then
Sold for ISK later.
if you click the loot,
Technological data indicates that cold hard cash is the universal language of New Eden.
then if you click the loot all button here, it will transfer it all into your ships.
Not bad,
cargo hold.
You should clear your... Let's report back to Concord and collect your reward.
So now if you click on the agency tab, which is that symbol there, and click your claim reward button there, you can then carry on with the story, well, or initial tutorial. So we'll activate the next one, which is gain experience with weapon ranges, where I believe that I already discussed these with you regarding your optimal ranges and your fall-off ranges.
You might want to check your wallet to confirm Concord has compensated you for your hard work.
So if you click on the Z icon on the left here, it will bring up your full ISK balance,
You can use your wallet to check your ISK balance and transaction history.
Your Plex balance, which we will cover Plex, and same with the loyalty points.
I am receiving a transmission from Concord. Concord believes those seekers may have been transmitting data to a specific location. We should warp there immediately.
So if we warp over there, then we can find out further. And we'll turn off the afterburner to save the capacity, which I'll also come on to you, as well as your ship's hit points here. As well as, and I will also be covering some fittings for you throughout, including for the first epic arc that we're going to be doing, which is going to be the Sisters of Eve epic arc.
Our intelligence was correct. The Seekers have been transmitting sensitive data to those sentry towers. Be warned, they're armed. We need to take them offline, but even the nearest tower is still too far away. Lest you forget, the key to accuracy is flying within your weapon's optimal range. When you are ready to engage the enemy, lock your target and fire.
So as you can see, with the civilian Gatling railguns, our optimal range is 5,280 meters, with the fall-off range being 7,380 meters. What that means is anything over 7,380 meters, and we will not actually hit that target, as the bullets simply cannot reach it. So what we'll do, we'll lock both of them up there, as I've just done, and then we'll click orbit, and get within the range, looking at the kilometers there. What you can do here is turn on the afterburner, which will get you there a little bit quicker, as you will then be traveling at 542.30 meters a second, rather than 350.75 without the afterburner. And then we will begin firing and just orbit it, the tower, up until it's destroyed. Now this might take a little bit of a time, but it will eventually bring it down. And as you can see, as its shield, armor and its structure of the turret goes down, you will then get to see it exploding. If you click the look at there, you'll be able to see that in action yourself.
And now for the far tower.
And now we do the same again with that one. So if we click the approach icon, and we are back looking at our ship again. Now this way, afterburner is really handy to get to the closer to the far away targets at a lot faster rate. And you can always set the speeds using the plus sign there and the minus sign there, or you can also manually click on it. Now once again, we are looking at the optimal range and the fall off range, and ideally we want it at 5,280 meters or less. So watching that, while watching that there, we're at 9, 8, and we're just coming into its fall off range now. So if we start firing, and then we enter into an orbit around it. And once again, for cinematical purposes, we will look at it. And there we go, guys. Down it goes again.
Well done, Captain. You may yet prove a worthy capsuleer. Since you're safe for the moment, you should consider improving your combat skills. I have taken the initiative to provide you with a convenient list of your abilities, both current and aspirational.
So to turn your afterburner back off, if you want to then left click on that, it will go red, and once it's completed its cycle, which is when the little grey circle is moving around, it will then shut off. So now we're going to go into the skills a little bit by Iora, so if we follow along with this, you should understand it a bit more.
The skills you train, the better your chances of survival. Death can be such an inconvenience, don't you agree? Might I suggest training your gunnery skills? You are a decent shot, but there is always room for improvement.
So now we go under the skills tab, which is just over here, and these are all the skills. We've currently got the skill book store, which I'll also cover. And then you've got the different categories here. Now she wants us to train the gunnery, so we come to the gunnery tab there, and then we're looking for surgical strike, which is there. If we click train level 1, it then gets added,
when your skill training is complete.
And that will take 1 hour and 6 minutes of real time. With your skill points, if you come down to where they're located and click apply skill points, that is how you then start to use your million free skill points that were allocated if you went through the link that's down in the description.
Our work here is done for now, though I am certain this is not the last we will hear of the drifters. They do so like to wreak havoc.
So then you go back to your tutorial and carry the story on, making sure you hit claim reward there for your initial list. And on to the next one of the initial series of tutorials.
Report that something is blocking communications in this sector. I would follow up on this lead if I were you. Concord has relayed the coordinates for a possible source for this disruption. Shall we, Captain?
So then if we click warp to location again, as in previous ones, they are very, very similar on these. And this is just to get you started on the game, but the game does cover a lot of things, all of which I'll try to cover within the series, including the easiest way to earn Plex for your account, and the things that I do myself in EVE, so that you guys can get a feel for the game and how to play it. Now, we are only a few short light years out before we reach the destination, and here we go. I should pop in any second now.
The source of the interference is nearby. It may be aboard this seeker. There's only one way to find out. Eliminate it.
So once again, we've got to kill the seeker. These seekers, if you do see them, once your initial tutorial is done, do leave them alone. They will not attack you unless you're carrying illicit goods such as a fellow capsuleer's body, which we'll also cover throughout this series, and as well as the implants and things like that that you get within the pod. And what we'll do is we'll get this guy gone, and then we can carry on with the story with Iora. I do hope that you are enjoying the initial start of the series, as this was the thing that all capsuleers and pilots do go through, is the tutorial when they first start this game. It is a bit slow initially, but does get a lot better.
Inbound. I am positive that this ship is carrying the scrambling device. Destroy it to take out the jammer.
And then same again, we target them up, fly over, and get him gone. So if we click orbiting with the afterburner on, which really helps to close the distance, and start firing the guns, and we can bring him down. And if I'll look at the ships, as you can see, they are very, very powerful little ships that the Seekers use, and I'll be covering the different ships throughout EVE. And there is a variety ranging from frigates to battleships to rather large industrial ships. And the game does cover a broad spectrum of things, including markets, minings, everything. Now, to loot the wreck, you do need... Now, I'm going to minimize that one just because the things that people can say in there. Now, to loot a wreck, you do need to be within 2,500 meters of it, so always check your distance. The ship will move to the wreck if you are outside of that.
You should take this opportunity to let Concord know that you're excelling at doing their job for them.
So once again, if we go into the agency tab and we claim the reward for that, which is another 20,000 disc, and we go on to a little bit of the fitting, which I will be covering throughout the series in a lot more detail than what Iowa does in this series.
Our work has not escaped the Drifters' notice. Reports indicate they are planning to abscond with the data they've collected. We should catch them before they can flee.
So if we now warp to the location, and it's a simple case of shooting them once again. And as you can see, the warp drive, afterbin there did go off. There is a mass warp drive, which is a slight difference to that, but it is still the same icon, which I'll cover with yourselves shortly. So far, we're up to 60,000 discs, which isn't a lot in this game, as many things cost many millions to sometimes billions, depending on what you want to buy. But don't let that put you off, as I will be giving you helpful hints that I use throughout the game.
Is attempting to flee through a spatial rift. I hope you've been practicing your maneuvers, Captain.
As well as going over various other things that you can do in the game.
Ancient idioms informs me that you should drive it like you stole it. In other words, speed up.
So there, as I was saying about the afterburn, so if you click on it.
Or at least you should by now. Orbit, lock, and fire.
And there we go, guys. As you can see, we're shooting him and we're actually missing him, because all the details do come up here. And as we get into range, we start to hit him and cause damage. So we'll set up in an orbit around him, and then for cinematic purposes, look at him, just so that you guys can see what the seekers and things are like. So then, we'll always try and loot your X where you can, guys.
Your corporeal form will live to fight another day. You should dock at a station. It's time to upgrade your ship.
Now, if your ship's inventory is getting a little bit messy like this here, if you right click and go to stack all, and it'll put all the items such as scrap metal together in one bundle, making it easier for you to organise, so you've not got 50 million of the same thing all down and you're scrolling through to try and find what you need. So now we need to go to the station, which this time there isn't a warp to, but if you look for your home icon, which is that little icon there, click on that and then click the dock icon, and it will establish the warp vector and get you to the station.
We will dock upon arrival.
Now, this is the Federation Navy Academy, which is Galante's own initial school. You are generally quite safe in the initial stages. Throughout the series, I am also going to be covering how ganking, how to avoid the ganking, the fits that they use, why they actually do it. So I do hope that you stick around for that. And as you can see, there is various things dotted around here, mobile depots, the containers and things like that I will be covering with you throughout the series. Don't be too disheartened if you see these and don't quite fully understand them yet, because I will be covering them throughout the series.
I'm pleasantly surprised that you survived that skirmish. Let us report back to Concord.
Now, if we claim the rewards, I believe the next one is going to cover the basics of the fitting window, which I'll show you now, as well as going into more depth in later on.
Let's take a look at your ship's fittings to see what we can improve.
So if you click the icon there, or if you come over to your Neocom here, you can also click the fitting window there, and that'll bring
New turrets, but you will have to free up slots to equip these new weapons. Remove your old turrets before trying to fit the new ones.
Now what this is, guys, these are your high spots on your ship, which at the minute is this little one here. Then you've got your capacitors and all the other vital stats, all of which I'll cover with you guys throughout. To remove the module, if you come over to it like that and then click the little icon there that is almost looks like a back button, and click unfit.
You do know where your new weapons are located, don't you?
Now if you come over to this box once again and click it, that is your inventory. If you're in a ship like we are here, you do come to your ship's inventory in the Valitor or whatever initial starting ship you're in. Then you need to click your item hanger here, and this is where
Fresh set of weapons if you have any hope of thriving in New Eden. The next enemy you face might not be as gentle as those seekers.
and that's where you'll find everything that you've got at this particular station. So to get your weaponry on in the initial stages, if you click and hold and then drag it over to the ship, and then the same again, then as you can see it fits into the high slots.
Will not do you any good without ammo. Honestly, Captain, I sometimes wonder how you ever survived without me.
And it's the same again with the ammo. So if you left click and hold and drag it over to the ship, it'll go over. Then what you can do with the remaining
ammo in your ship's cargo. You'll need it later, assuming you live long enough to reload.
Now what you can do with the remaining ammo, as I just said, if you click and hold it again with your left mouse button and drag it over into your ship's cargo hold, and as you can see it is now in there.
That wasn't so hard, was it?
And I'll cover this simulation fits and things like that throughout the series as well.
Let's move along, shall we?
And same again, over to the agency window, and we claim the rewards for that. Now this is a very simple tutorial, and this is
Intelligence reports that the Seekers are congregating nearby. This may be our chance to put a stop to this once and for all.
these are very easy missions, so don't be put off by it. The game isn't always like this, as you'll see once we get through the initial tutorial and other stages of the game. So once again we'll warp to the location. And as you can see, there are other players here.
To test out both of your new weapons. In the meantime, I will work on bringing your remaining systems back online.
Now, if you do have weapons of the same type, what you can do is left click on them, hold and drag, and that'll create a group of those particular weapon types, meaning that you haven't got a load of weaponry here. And I will be covering more on this sort of what your outlay here does and the things that it covers in the series. Now we have got a couple of sentry drones here, which are marked with red.
This nature is called a trial by fire. How delightfully archaic.
Now once again we do lock them up on both of them. Now because we've changed the weaponry, the fall off range and the optimal have also changed now, as you can see, because the fall off range is now within 3,330 and the optimal is 1,760, but we do a lot more damage. So if we orbit the first one at 1,000 and burn in with the afterburner, and then we can start firing the weapons once we're within them ranges. So try not to fire before then, otherwise you're wasting the ammunition. So we're now within the fall off range and optimal, so we'll start firing and orbiting. And it's the same again on the next one. Same again, try and make sure it's between your optimal and your fall off range, as you don't want to waste your ammo as it does cost you ISK. So just keep burning into the next turret. and open fire as soon as it's within your optimal and fall off range. And we will have a look at the sentry turret once again for cinematic effect. And there you go, guys.
Speakers are coming in hot. Hold steady, Captain.
Okay.
There are more enemies en route.
Okay, now guys, just to speed things up a little bit, I am going to start using the keyboard shortcuts just to make things a little bit quicker. And now we're going to burn into him and start shooting. Checking the distances up here. So here's the closest, so we start up getting in on him first. And start firing on at him. Then it's going to be this guy here as he's within the distance. So if you get in on the next one, and then start firing again. And what I suggest doing here is kill them all and before you actually start looting. As you will take damage, as you can see the shields are starting to take damage there. And some more are inbound. So if we lock them up and start the approach to them. As soon as they come into range, start firing on them, guys. On to the next one. Always making sure that they're between your optimal and your fall off. Now I'm going to turn down the audio just a little bit as it is a little bit loud. And there you go, guys. That is all the rifters destroyed. So what we'll do now is we'll start to loot all the wrecks.
I am most pleased that you survived that battle, Captain. I seem to have grown rather attached to you. What a peculiar notion. I am also pleased to report that your remaining systems are back online. Now, shall we check what rewards you have earned for your bravery?
We're just listing all these wrecks of everything because everything in E does have an S value. And in the initial stages, even things like scrap metal can quickly add up and it does start to assist you in the initial days. So if you do get a chance to, do try and collect any of the scrap metal in the initial stages of the game. And then once again, we're going to stack it all together so that it's all nice and neat. So then you go back to the agency and we claim the reward for that one. And the next one is the career awaits, which is where we'll be coming on to the career agents, which I'll be running through with you on the next episode.
Spread your wings, Captain. There are many profitable career paths available in New Eden. To help you get started, you should visit one of the career agents.
So now if you click on the agency tab, come over, let me just move IOR out the way, come over to the agents and missions tab, go onto your career agents here, and then you can set the destination for one of them, so the all are in the same place. So what we'll do is we'll set the destination for them.
The distance to the agent is too far for the warp drive on your ship. We will have to use stargates to jump between solar systems.
So what you do with the stargates is you select them like that, and then come up to the what looks like fast forward button, and that will jump you through the system, much like when we are traveling between other bits and pieces.
We will jump through upon arrival.
Now this is a bit of a short jump. There is a lot longer jumps throughout Eve. There is some systems that are very, very notorious for people ganking in, all of which I'll cover, as well as the main gankers, which are Code, Safety, and a few of the other corporations that are notorious for ganking. And I'll teach you how to avoid them and add them onto the list so that if they do come up on here, you can effectively evade them in order to keep hold of your ship so that you don't lose your ship. because if your ship does get blown up in Eve, it is gone forever. And it's at some point you will lose the ship. We all have. I've lost ships that have been 500 million S worth, and I'm sure you guys will lose ships too. The career agents do cover that a little bit more, which will be in the next episode. But what I'm going to do is I am going to finalize up the last little bit of the Iorus tutorial with you, which is when we arrive there at the Federation Navy Academy, and then we will be able to carry on from there within the next series. Now, as you can see, people with the skull and crossbones like that means that with the Galente, their standing with them is below 0, which I will also cover with you, and what happens once you reach certain levels. Your shields will passive recharge, but they are the only ones out of the ship that does passive recharge over a certain amount of time. Your armor and your structure do not, but there is ways to repair your armor and structure, which I'll be covering throughout the series. And as you can see, there is different players in here, things like in the Dramovics, the transports, the battle cruisers and things like that, as well as Rex there. Somebody's died there, as you can see. And they have actually lost their battle cruiser there. I'll cover that, things like the battle cruisers and things with you throughout. And we're now going to dock into the station. When they go in like that, it means that they're in your current corp. And I will cover corporations and how they work and things like that, and how you can actually set up your own corp within EVE Online. And have players working for you and increasing your core. It works very much like guilds in other games, as a form of communication and things like that. And gives you access to various fittings and things. But I will show you that, how you can share fittings with court members and things. So we're just approaching a point in space where the docker is. And there we go, we've been accepted into the station. Now once you get back to the station like this, if you once again click on the agency tab,
It would be prudent to review what career paths each agent offers before you approach them.
so once again, IO is now telling you to go to the agents and missions, and the...
You can access this information in the appropriate section of the agency. Bear in mind that you can explore multiple paths before finding the perfect fit.
And then come over to the career agents, and then you've got the
Pleased that you are not as helpless as you look. Take no offense. All carbon-based life forms appear helpless to me. As you have proven capable of fending for yourself, I will now enter standard operations mode. Godspeed, Captain.
And I will cover the different career agents within the next episode. These are early game. So I hope you've all enjoyed that and you've got a little bit of a taste for EVE. If you do want to start it with 1,000,000 skill points, there is a link for that down in the description. And I look forward to seeing yourselves on Wednesday to carry on with the series.